Hello everybody, in this video we're going to animate a Scratch conversation. We're going to use the broadcast, costume, and backdrop blocks. Alright, let's get going. So here's how the program works. Here's kind of a silly conversation. Here is a costume change, another costume change, and a backdrop change. And you'll notice the timing is perfect, meaning no overlapping conversations or anything like that. Here are the old blocks we'll use. We'll use the green flag. Remember, every sprite has a green flag. We'll use the say. And here are the new blocks we'll use. We'll use the switch costume block, which changes the costume or the look of my sprite. Alternatively, you can use the next costume block, which changes the look of the sprite from the costume you're on to the very next one. It's pretty much the same for backdrops or backgrounds. I can switch my backdrop like this, and I can also tell it to go to the next backdrop. The next blocks that we're going to introduce are the broadcast and when I receive blocks. We're going to use these blocks to send messages from one sprite to all other sprites and to coordinate actions between sprites. Now what do I mean? Well, here I have a program, and in this program, Calvert here says play, and then Calvert broadcasts message 1. So message 1 is broadcast by Calvert. All the other sprites won't do anything unless they have a when I receive message 1. If they have it when I receive message 1, that means they're listening for the broadcast, and then they will do everything that's under that event block. In this case, they're changing that costume over and over again. So the broadcast pairs with a when I receive block, and we're going to use it to send messages between sprites and coordinate actions. Alright, so now let's try out the lab. I'm going to get the link to the starter code, paste it in, go to it, click the remix button, and here we start. Here's a summary of the instructions here. But basically what we're going to do is have a conversation between two sprites with costume changes and with changes to the backdrop. First thing I'm going to do, step 1, is add a green flag to all of my sprites and the stages. Again, in every single program, every one of my sprites should have exactly one green flag. And I'm going to do it for the stage as well. So for sprite 1, this is already done for me. I'm going to add a green flag to sprite 2. And I'll also do it for the stage. So I'll click on the stage here and bring in my green flag. Step 2, under the green flags for sprite 1 and sprite 2, switch the costume to the one that you want. And the concept here is, knowing that we're going to change the costume later, we need to set it at the beginning. So let's do that right now. To get to the costume change blocks, I'm going to go to Looks, Switch Costume, and which costume do I want? I think maybe I'll use this one, so I'll switch it to Abby A. I'll need to do the same for sprite 2. I'll switch the costume, and maybe I want to start here. So that's Champ 99-A. This is what I should have right now. Sprite 1 will have the green flag, and under that, switching the costume. Sprite 2, I've added the green flag, and I've also set the costume by switching it. Alright, step 3. Under the green flag of the stage, we're going to do something similar, except we're going to set the backdrop. Maybe I'll switch it to backdrop 1, which is plain. And you can see it's plain right here. Alright, switching back to sprite 1. So now we should test these all out. I'm going to hit the green flag. The backdrops and costumes should go to the ones that I expect them to go to, and they do. Abby is plain, Champ has his arms spread out, and the backdrop is blank. Step 4. This has been done for you, but you should edit it. Under the green flag, have sprite 1 say something witty. So we've done that here. Hello, my chump. Under the say, have sprite 1 broadcast message 1. Do not use a wait. Again, this is already done for you. So when I broadcast message 1, that's going to send a message out to all sprites and all stages. And the ones that have a receive will do something in response to this broadcast. The instructions say don't use a wait. And what do I mean by that? Well, I could instead just wait a certain amount of seconds and have this guy wait a certain amount of seconds before I say the next thing. But this is going to introduce a code maintenance problem. And this is a theme you'll see a lot as you learn to program. And what do I mean? Well, if I want to add something different here, if I want to say something different now, all of a sudden I've waited 1 second before and my timing is all off. So whenever I have things where I'm trying to coordinate actions between sprites, I do not want to use that wait. I want to instead use a broadcast on one sprite and when I receive on the other sprite. So let's put this back to what it was. Alright, so now we're done with step 4. Let's go to step 5. So here's step 5. I'm going to need to go to sprite 2. So here's sprite 2. I'm going to have sprite2 receive message 1, and that's already done for me, and say something witty. And then under that say, have sprite2 broadcast message 2, exactly message 2. So again, when I receive message 1 has been done for me. And now let's do this. Yo, my friend, what is happening? And I'll change the time to 1 second. And I'll do that here as well. I'll change the time to 1 second, which will allow me to test faster. And then what did it want me to do? Another broadcast of message 2. So to do that, I do new message. I name it message 2. And it says if I want, I can change my costume. So I'm going to do that now. I will change that costume to B. So now let's test this out just to see. Hello, my chump. Yo, my friend, what is happening? And it changes its look. All right, step 6. We're back to sprite 1, so I'll change to sprite 1. Have sprite 1 receive message 2, and under that receive, say something witty. Under that say, we're going to have sprite 1 broadcast message 3 to keep the conversation going. So let's do that now. When I receive is under events. When I receive is right here. When I receive message 2, there's going to be another say. Do you even know how silly you are? Let's change that costume. Maybe to Abby B. And then we're going to broadcast message 3. So the broadcast here, a new message, message 3. All right, so now we go back to sprite 2. Have sprite 2 receive message 3 and say something witty. And then we're going to broadcast message 4. So I can just actually copy this and edit it. So when I receive message 3, and maybe switch my costume one more time. And as the instructions say, I'm going to broadcast message 4. So new message, message 4. So now we're at step 8. I could just copy this, so right click and duplicate. And it wants me to, when I receive message 4, say something witty. Message 4. I could change the costume if I want. Let's see. Let's change to Abby C. And say something witty, and that's pretty much done. So step 9 is somewhere in the conversation. Be sure to change the costume of each sprite at least once, which I've done. And number 10 is somewhere in the conversation. Be sure to change the background of the stage at least once. So I have not done that. I'm going to do that now. And we're going to ask you to do this by having a receive message in the stage, not the sprite, the stage. So let's do that now. Click on the stage. Here is the code of the stage. I'm going to have a receive. Maybe I'll do it at the very end when I receive message 4. And I'm going to switch my backdrop. So here, switch backdrop to the fire backdrop. So now let's try this whole thing. The last steps will be to check your file with the autograder and then submit. I assume by now you can use the autograder, so I'll skip that in this video.